What's up everyone, this is DR with the WoW Breakdown 101, and today we're going to take a look at the Normal Immerseus Tank Point of View Guide in the Siege of Orgrimmar. Now, as with all of my point of view guides, I will break down the fight like a puzzle, piece by piece, step by step, to help you get past the encounter as you roll. I will only go over what you as a tank will need to do to get past this encounter, and will not go over how you would down this boss as a raid. If you are a raid lead, then click the fatboss link below, otherwise this guide is all you will need. Now the first thing we're going to go over is positioning, and there are several common used raid positions on this boss fight. You as a tank only need to ensure that there is no one near you, as the frontal cone attack the boss does can one-shot non-tanks, and the other tank should not be near you either, as this would cause both tanks to get the stacking debuff. The last thing is don't stand in the water that Immerseus is in due to the ability Seeping Shaw, which will do damage to you and knock you back. Now let's go over what you as a tank are going to be dealing with in this encounter, and how you will handle it to stay alive. The first ability I will only mention briefly is Shaw Bolt, that will hit you and everyone else in your raid for shadow damage, and will leave a void zone under your feet that you will need to get out of. When you move from this void zone, move just enough so that you can overlap the next void zone to save as much room as possible. As long as you get out of the void zones fast, this ability will basically do no damage to you, and you will not be in danger of dying to Shaw Bolt. This ability comes in at around every 10 seconds and will not cast when Immerseus is channeling Swirl, which we will go over in a few. Now for the payload as a tank in this encounter, and that comes in the form of Corrosive Blast. This ability deals very high shadow damage in a frontal cone attack that applies a debuff which increases the damage taken for 45 seconds. This will be cast around every 35 seconds, meaning that you want to perform a tank swap with this mechanic. Make sure that your boss mod timers for this ability is in an area of your user interface that is easy to see. Make the bar timer larger when this ability is about to come in at around 5 seconds. Making the bar larger will make it easier for you to tell when this ability is going to come in. Regardless, by doing this you will have time to set up and prepare for this ability as it is coming in. Your life should be topped off for this ability, and if it is not, then call out for emergency heals. You will want to pop a defensive cooldown for this ability to reduce the large damage it does. Now this ability is shadow damage, so make sure not to pop a physical damage reduction cooldown for this ability, as this will not reduce any of the damage. After you have taken this blast to the face, just watch carefully for Shaw Bolt and the puddle, as your life can be low, and if you do not get out of the void zones fast enough, it can cause your healers to panic and even cause you to die. This ability for the first two normal phases can happen a total of 3 times depending on your raid's DPS, meaning that if you take the first one, you will have around a minute and 20 seconds before you have to take the next one. So ensure that you have 2 defensive cooldowns ready for this first 2 normal phases. The last ability that you're going to have to deal with in the normal phase is going to be Swirl. Swirl is a frontal cone attack that Immerseus will start to channel for around 10 seconds and spin clockwise around the room. When this ability comes in, just make sure to take note where the boss is facing to decide whether he's going to reach your area or not. If the boss is facing you at the start of the ability, then you'll just run to the right fast to get out of the frontal cone before he starts the channel, and then reposition. If Swirl is going to reach your area, then you're just going to pop a run speed cooldown if you have one, and run right through Swirl. Note, if you're low on life, then you're going to pop a cooldown or a large heal on yourself before running through this ability, and also make sure that you do not get hit by the moving void zones during this ability, as they will throw you in the air and cause you to take damage. Even if you are a tank, getting hit by one of these void zones and Swirl at the same time will kill you pretty fast, so use an emergency cooldown or immunity if you have one, if this does actually happen. Just watch your feet and get through Swirl as fast as you can. Doing it properly, you will only take 1 tick of damage from Swirl, and you may not actually take any ticks of damage at all if you get through it fast enough. Once Immerseus hits 0 life, he will enter his split phase where he splits into 2 different kinds of puddles. During this phase, you will DPS the Shaw puddles and stun them, slow them down if possible. Also, if you have heals, you can try to help heal one of the contaminated puddles, if there are no Shaw puddles in your area to kill. Once the puddles start reaching the middle, you will want to have a raid cooldown ready to help reduce the shadow damage the raid takes, especially on the first 2 split phases and the last few split phases. If you have a small defensive cooldown, use those here. Now, you will just rinse and repeat. Let's go over a quick recap. Don't stand in the black void zones from the Shaw Bolt. Pop defensive cooldowns for the Corrosive Blast. Avoid Swirl or run through it to take as little damage as possible. Kill Shaw puddles in the split phase and pop personal defensive cooldowns and raid cooldowns when the puddles reach the middle of the room. That is all I have for this guide. If it helped you out any at all, then give me a like, share, and subscribe to keep up with future guides and content. If you have any suggestions for future videos, then leave them in the comments section below or email me at thewowbreakdown@gmail.com. Go out there and have fun, and see you again next time.